What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. The final international break of the season is over. We're officially on the home straight, the business end of the season. There's two trophies up for grabs for Celtic over the space of the next 9 or 10 games. Really looking forward to seeing the team back in action at Celtic Park tomorrow against Hearts. This is, of course, the starting 11 prediction. We've had 2 weeks to stew on that defeat to Rangers, and I'm really looking forward for the team to get the opportunity to put that defeat behind us. There is obviously a concerning trend developing in those games. I think the last three derbies, the first half and the way we've started the game has been unacceptable. It is a concern that, particularly after the game at Ibrox, the team came out that way a fortnight ago at Celtic Park and didn't start the game well enough. We let Rangers be the aggressor in the game again, just as we did at Ibrox, and arguably you could say we let them be the aggressor in the cup final in the first half as well. So that is a concerning trend. It's not a one-off. You look at the game at Ibrox, and at the time we all wrote it off as a bad day at the office, poor collective performance, numerous poor individual performances on the day. But when it happens again in the next fixture, and you can make up your own mind as to whether we've been second best in the last two derbies or in the last three. But as I say, it is a bit of a trend, and it's something the manager has to address. And when we go to Ibrox in the post-split game, we've got to show up in a much better fashion than we have done, particularly in the first half in these last three derbies. We cannot end this season 3-1 down to Rangers on a head-to-head basis in the league. We might well be on for another domestic treble, but for me, that would certainly take a wee bit of the gloss off a domestic treble if we come out with 3 defeats to Rangers. So that game at Ibrox, despite the fact it will be, yes, a dead rubber in the context of the league title, I think the way these fixtures have gone this season, despite the fact that Rangers have been inconsistent and really poor domestically, they currently have the edge head to head against us this season. So, like I say, there's a lot on that game at Ibrox. We will have the away allocation back 2,500 or whatever it may be, but there's absolutely no two ways about it that the team must show up with more intensity, more speed, and probably most importantly, more aggression. Because as I say, we've let Rangers be the aggressor and get on the front foot in these last 2 or 3 derbies, and that, from a Celtic point of view, is unacceptable. Moving on, thinking about tomorrow, a lot of injury news, obviously in the build up to that game, but through the international break as well. The big one is that Kasper Schmeichel is out and he's probably going to miss the rest of the season with a shoulder injury he picked up playing for Denmark. So that's a big blow for us. It does present an opportunity for Sinisalo, who hasn't played so much this season since he arrived at the club in the summer. We'll come back to him when we talk about the team in more detail. Callum McGregor, I believe, is back in contention, according to the manager today, after missing the Rangers game. Paulo Bernardo is back as well. Austin Trusty's back in contention after Nawrocki had to come out of nowhere, really, having not kicked a ball all season, to play. And to his credit, he was one of the better individual performers on the day against Rangers. So Trusty's back in contention. Scale's still out. Forrest, I think it's too early for him. But I think we've been quite fortunate this season with injuries. The Rangers game's probably the one game this season where we've missed 2 or 3 key players. So we can't really complain in terms of our luck with injuries this season. But Casper's a blow. Good to get McGregor back and Trusty back as well. And it's going to be interesting to see what the manager does in defence. I've seen a lot of people talking up the performance of Nawrocki, but I think where he's found himself in the squad this season, it's difficult really to see him coming in and getting a run of games, despite the fact that, yes, he did stand up and perform probably the best out of our defenders on the day. It's still a poor day for us. We still go on to lose the game. So despite the fact that in the circumstances he put up a decent performance, I would be surprised to see him keep his place in the team. But we'll come back to that one when we look at the starting 11 in a couple of minutes. Now, Hearts at home tomorrow. This will be the first time Neil Critchley's brought a Hearts team to Celtic Park. We obviously faced them once already at Tynecastle this season. We won the game 4-1, went in 0-0 at half-time. Hearts probably had the better of the first half. Numerous openings, a couple of good chances, couldn't convert them. And then our quality showed in the second half, and we had a couple of really good moves on the counter-attack, and obviously Kuhn's goal that game was absolutely exceptional in terms of the speed at our counter and the way that he finished it. and then Ida off the bench got a couple of late goals to seal a comfortable win for us. But Hearts have been doing well since Critchley came in. They obviously were languishing at the bottom of the table when Naismith departed. They are, though, still in a big fight for top six. They've only got a 1 point lead over Motherwell, who are in 7th. They're currently in 6th. But they have been in decent form. They've only had 1 defeat in their last 5 games, and that was the Edinburgh Derby defeat at Easter Road to Hibs. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach the game. Will they try and play a bit? Will they try and keep the ball and play out for the back? Will they play in a low block? I know that Critchley's been trying to implement a style of play. Might they sense a bit of weakness and they might try and make a fast start after watching us against Rangers? I think for us, it's all about starting fast, starting with a proper intensity. And like I say, I think individually and collectively, we have to put in a better performance. There's going to be a lot of players across the pitch tomorrow who should be keen to make amends for their performance against Rangers. And I think collectively, the manager and the players will want to show everybody that we want to put that behind us, we want to move on from it, and we can get back towards something close to our best level for this run. And we've got 4 victories required to seal the league title, and then the semi-final against St Johnstone, and hopefully a Scottish Cup final to come. A lot of talk about Brendan Rodgers' teams always getting better at this stage of the season. I think 2 defeats in the last 4 now after having lost at Easter Road, following the second leg in Munich and then that defeat to Rangers. So we don't want the season to peter out. I know it sounds ridiculous to say that a season can peter out when you've got an opportunity of winning a domestic treble, but we want to make sure that we're in top form and we get some marquee performances and victories as we close in, as I say, on what can hopefully be another domestic treble. Let's look at the team then for tomorrow. It's obviously not going to be Casper in goals, as it always is. It is a brilliant opportunity for Viljami Sinisalo to get a run of games. It'll be his first league start for Celtic, his only competitive appearance so far, coming against Wraith in the Cup. So it's a big opportunity for him. There will be pressure on him, as there is on any Celtic goalkeeper, let alone an understudy setting him up to replace someone like Schmeichel. The big thing about Casper, the last game notwithstanding, is that he's been so good with the ball at his feet in terms of helping us play out. So there is going to be that onus on Sinisalo as well. But again, as a goalkeeper, the fundamentals are, can you keep the ball at your net? Can you command your area? Can you give confidence to the defence in front of you and the team in front of you? And can you make big saves whenever you're called into action? We're going to get to see that over the course of the next 8 to 10 games with Sinisalo. And football presents opportunities to players in the form of injury, and that's what it's going to do for him. So this is a great chance for him as a young goalkeeper who's just arrived at the club in the summer, to be an understudy and to develop, to get a chance to play in big meaningful games between now and the end of the season. So we'll get a chance to see what he's all about in these next few games. Back 4, Johnston, Carter Vickers, Trusty and Taylor. So there's 2 changes in there from the back 4 against Rangers. I'll start with Johnston, who was obviously really poor by his own standards against Rangers. It was one of the poorest performances he's put in, if not the poorest, in a Celtic jersey. I think defensively and offensively, he was really, really poor. Found wanting at times. He's obviously slips in the build-up to the winning Rangers goal as well. Carter Vickers is involved there too, and then he blazes a brilliant chance over just on full time to make it 3-3 in numerous other areas of the game where he lacked intensity. He was misreading the play at times. He was poor on the ball. He's been away with Canada as well, so again there'll be minutes in his legs and a lot of travel there, but you would like to think that he will be out to set things right from that performance against Rangers. Carter Vickers was poor on the day as well. I'm putting Trusty back in just because I think, as I say, touched on it already, Nawrocki has come in out of the cold to play against Rangers, and he's only found himself there because of injury. And yes, admittedly, he was the best defensive performer on the day, but I fully expect Trusty, if he's fit and ready, to come back in. I think Brendan Rodgers has made it clear with every team and every squad he selected this season that Mike Nawrocki is not part of his plans. I don't think that single performance is really going to change that. I think it'll be Trusty to come back in, and Taylor at left back, who's had a nice spell out of the team now. He should be well rested, but for the fact I know he's got a newborn baby. But I think Sloop was really poor against Rangers. He was one that you were looking before the game in great form, looking for him to give us something both offensively and defensively, that physicality that he's brought to the team, a bit more speed, but he actually looked rattled in the game, first half particularly. And the obviously the glaring moment being that when we work that corner from the left hand side to the right hand side, and Hatate plays it back to Sloop in the halfway line, and under no pressure, instead of looking for a ball forward, he just hits it back to Casper immediately. He was really poor on the day, Jeffrey Sloop, and I think Taylor, this could be an opportunity to bring him back in to the fold. Now, I'm not saying that this means that Sloop's in the bin and Taylor's a better player and a better option, and that's who we should go with going forward. I just think it's a good chance for Greg to come back in and start a game again, and then the manager will have the option to chop and change as he sees fit between now and the end of the season. Callum McGregor back in midfield. There's no doubt he was a miss for us in the game, in any game, particularly the big games. Callum McGregor is such a key player for us in terms of his leadership on the pitch, and how he tries to guide people through the game and how he links the game for us tactically as well. I think Engels playing in that position, I wanted a lot more from him on the day. Him, like the rest of his teammates in the first half, were really, really poor, particularly the aggression against the ball. We let the Rangers midfield be the aggressors and get on the front foot and bite into their tackles and really get the momentum and be on the front foot from minute one in the game, and that shouldn't have happened. I think McGregor, yes, he did play in the last two derbies where we had similar poor starts, really poor first half performances, so it's not to say that if McGregor was playing, the game would have been turned on its head, but he's a big player for us and it's good to have him back, and I fully expect him to start tomorrow. You just hope that between now and end of the season, this niggling issue, he had it last season, I don't know if it's the exact same problem, but he does seem to have these wear and tear injuries at this stage of the season, at this stage of his career when he's played so much football throughout the last decade or so. Engels and Hatate in front of him. I think, again, that's probably what the manager sees as the strongest midfield. It's a massive boost for us to have Paulo Bernardo back in the squad, given that he's been out for 6 weeks now. I don't see him starting in any way in this game, but I think he'll be on the bench, and it'd be nice to see him for 20-25 minutes, because I think we've missed that option in midfield with Bernardo. I think he brings an intensity to the game. I think he's much better against the ball than Hatate and arguably Engels as well. I think he's got a bit of speed and a burst of pace about him when he's pressing opposition players. And I think just having that extra body in there to rotate is something that Brendan Rodgers has missed in the last couple of months. So again, I'd expect to see him at some point in the game. The only other option midfield is McKeown, who I think didn't perform well against Rangers. A couple of nice moments second half, and don't get me wrong, he did try. It wasn't for lack of desire or effort, but I think he had a poor outing in the day, and that's why I'm just going with those three in midfield. Now, I think there's a big decision for the manager to make in the front three as well. I've actually gone with, this is a starting 11 prediction, and if you've watched this channel over the years, this is always about the team I think the manager will pick. I think with the front three, I've maybe just gone against that because I can't make my mind up whether he'll start Kuhn. I think he probably will, but I'm going Jota on the right hand side, Dyson on the left, and Ida through the middle, because I think Kuhn's performances in the last, I mean, how far do you want to go back? I think certainly in the last 3 or 4 weeks have been really, really poor. He's been miles off where he was earlier in the season. And we know that those levels early in the season, in terms of the numbers of assists and goals, are probably unsustainable over the course of a whole season. But I think that first half performance against Rangers was dreadful. Far too often he took the easy option. Rangers were being aggressive and pressing us, and he had somebody up his backside every time he received the ball. But it's his job and his responsibility to take the ball under that pressure and try and eliminate a defender, try and eliminate his marker and open the game up for us. And he didn't do that. Far too often he just took the easy pass back inside and really bottled the responsibility of taking the game to Rangers. And that is one small factor in the whole first half, really. Whenever we had the possession, we just didn't get at them. We didn't play the riskier passes. We didn't take the responsibility trying to get by somebody and really beat their press, because we struggled with it in the first half. So I think Kuhn might come out It really won't surprise me if he does start the game. On that basis, if Kuhn starts, I would expect Jota to play on the left and Dyson to play through the middle. But I think Ida will get the nod, and if he does, it's a big opportunity for him. He did come on at half time in the Rangers game, and I think this situation up front isn't a good one for us. I know that Dyson's done great, generally speaking, when he's gone through there. He's having a brilliant season. I think he scored in his last 7 starts for Celtic in the league. You can see that stat running along the bottom of your screen in the banner just now. He's having an incredible season. He's going to be Player of the Year, hands down. Dyson Maeda, talk of a new contract as well, which I think we would all welcome. The longer we can keep him, the better. But I think there is something missing in our attacking options just now, and it's because we've let Kyogo go and didn't replace him with a player of any kind, really. We've had games where Dyson started through the middle, the Derby being the prime example, where Rangers have come to presses. We couldn't really get up the pitch and get Dyson involved in the game as the centre forward in the first half. We bring Ida on in the second half. We've had games where Ida started through the middle, Bayern Munich, for example, and I know that it's different. It's really difficult to take the Bayern Munich game, the first leg, and really compare it to anything else that we've faced this season. But Ida starts through the middle, and there's been times where we have to switch it. Dyson goes from left wing to through the middle, and then things start to get better. It just seems like we're missing something in that area of the pitch. Notwithstanding Dyson's brilliant season, yes, of course, but there's no doubt we need a striker immediately in the summer, and I think that's just an undercurrent of some of the games we've struggled in recently. The game at Easter Road, where again Dyson goes through the middle and he manages to scramble a goal, again being so alive, and he gets over the line. He scores a second goal, which is incorrectly ruled out, as we talked about at the time. But that was a game where I thought we need something else here up front. It looks like we need something else now that Kyogo's gone, and I felt that again in the game against Rangers. Ida came on. He didn't really have a brilliant impact in the game, but he's probably involved more as a central striker than Dyson was in the first half. But you expected us maybe to go a wee bit more direct into him and to let him hold it up and maybe beat the Rangers press a wee bit. But Rangers actually stopped pressing us in the way they were in the first half, given they had a 2-0 lead in the game. So we'll see what happens with the striking position between now and the end of the season. Like I say, if Kuhn does start tomorrow, I think it will be Dyson through the middle once again. There you go. That's the team I think Brendan Rodgers will start with, bar the front three, of course, as I've just explained. Like the video, give us your own thoughts on the team below. Who do you think will start in the key positions tomorrow? Do you think Trusty will come back in? Do you think Schlupp will keep his place at left back? Who'll play in midfield? And like I say, what would you do with that situation in the front three as well? We'll be back tomorrow with the full-time reaction outside Celtic Park after the game. Thank you.